Okay, we have a 9 for this item, and then we have item 3, how many?
We have about 82.
82
For
altogether.
number 1, yeah.
Number 1. And item 2,
Item 2, we have 2 speakers, and
Okay.
for item 3, we have 2 speakers.
how many?
2.
For 3, 2. Okay, so we have 82, so we have 86, 95. County Council, I want to put everything in 1 minute for public speaking today.
I think that's reasonable in light of the number of members of the public that are wanting to speak, as well as the impact on staff time, that staff have to be here during the board meeting when they could be attending to the public health crisis. So I think 1 minute is appropriate.
Thank you. So we're going to go into, bring out those speakers.
I'll call 5 speakers at a time. Hepa Bafi, Crystal Jade, Dr. Fred, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your last name, Jennifer, and Emmy Lemon.
All right, good morning, everybody. I think I want to speak on behalf. My name is Krista Jade. All of us here are not happy. We are here expecting 3 minutes, down to 2 minutes, and then now 1 minute. I don't think it's fair. You have to hear us, then you will hear us full. All right, so I'm going to take my 2 minutes. Thank you. And I'm here for item 3A. I'm not in defiance here, but I think it has to be fair to ask. All right, it's talk about the appointment of Dr. Chow. I will say no. I watch this Board of Supervisor meeting almost every week. I remember 1 week, this Dr. Chow, he is so obnoxious and so rude to Chairman Steele. That I'm not happy. He is not an elected officer. 5 supervisors here are elected officers. He doesn't make any decision or any legislative laws or orders for
Okay,
the
your
resident
time
of
is up.
OC. So I say that no.
So next speaker, please. Next speaker, please. We need some help in that room. Next speaker, please. Can we get some help from the sheriff's deputy here?
My name is Dr. Fred DiDomenico. I'm a primary health care provider, and a local state health emergency was mandated in February. It has a 30-day limitation. We are far beyond the 30-day limitation, which there's no scientific data to back it, which means actually this is a felonious act. Everybody on the board that supports it are actually felons right now. We already have legal representation to convict everybody on a personal level. And I'm sure when you were young kids playing in the field, you never thought that you would enslave the people that you're serving as well as committing a felony. And if we don't change, and Dr. Chow doesn't make a change from what Dr. Nicole Quick did, then we will pursue legal action. And I believe that you're created to do something great, that you have a purpose that can help humanity. And if you continue to enslave them, then you will be enslaved and caged as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Beatty in Fullerton, and I just want to speak that Dr. Chow has illegally accepted money on behalf of Big Pharma. He's failed people with mental health needs and is a drug pusher. Just because the drugs are legal doesn't mean they're safe and the correct treatment for these people. If you are paid to push a drug, your integrity is in question. How can we trust him to make the right choice for our county? We can't. He and Dr. Quick have both lied about the science about behind the mask being beneficial. My daughter and I can't breathe in a mask, and we are being discriminated against because of Quick's choice to mandate masks. Chow backs this mandate, even though there isn't a science to back it. Chow is going to fail us just like Quick did. At least she saw that she was not up for this and quit, as he should too.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I want to know if this person you are appointing cares about kids. Vaccines have harmed kids. And I want to know if you are appointing somebody who wouldn't just care about power, but care about kids, our community, and all the people alike.
Please be sure that you're appointing this new person and that he has better things to say and that he protects the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States of America and doesn't make me wear this.
Next speaker, please. Can you call out more names?
Hello. I just want to make sure that the person that you're appointing, that you have researched their record and that you make sure that they're not taking money from any political party or pharma, or, that they're truly are going to protect the health of people and issue mandates or new ordinance or laws that are not just for power, and also that you take a look at their record, to make sure that they haven't taken any money in the past, to make sure that they don't have any criminal record. And also, sometimes when somebody leaves, just the next person that's there, they just simply get appointed. So I want to ask you to please hire somebody that fully has experience and not just take anybody else that's the next one in line in the office. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Honorable Chairwoman Steele and the Board of Supervisors. My name is Ilya Tseglin. Regarding the item 3.8, about to appoint Director of Healthcare Agency Clayton Cho, me and the public is objecting to put the new bureaucrat in the health department that prove not to be helpful for people, but is strike with corruption and money laundering. The people have to select the person who will be in their health. If we need it at all, we can handle our family
Thank
health.
you. Your time is up.
Board of Supervisors Robert Seglin, brother Nate Seglin, pertaining to item 53A, County Executive Office, appoint Healthcare Agency Director Clayton Cho as the acting county health officer. Of course, my concerns as regarding any other concerns I've mentioned before regarding agencies that are supposed to be under the purview of the Board of Supervisors is regarding proper overview and proper oversight that may seem to be lacking. I think concerns regarding such important office officials that are supposed to oversee important decisions pertaining to the people, their welfare, and also their freedoms. My concern, of course, is what's their previous history regarding that. My concern, of course, is not very pleasant to hear regarding the case of my brother, probate case A as in Apple 246780, is pertaining to a case where so-called medical doctor, a so-called psychiatrist,
Thank you.
has
Your
a criminal
time is
record,
up.
and that is involved in
Thank
psychotropic
you.
abuse. Thank you.
First speaker is Rick Brown.
Good morning. I'll make this quick. Can we stop pretending that the pandemic is not political? About 2 weeks ago, Dr. Chow was driving into the office and he referenced the fact that he received multiple phone calls stating that they wanted him not to budge from his position of wearing masks. So the question I have is, was his phone number broadcast to the public, or were these family and friends? So I think it's very political. When we talk and we reference science and data, can somebody show me the link or show me the source of that science and data? It's being referenced all the time, and we're being told, well, look, the CDC said this, they said that, but their position changes from week to week. So could we have a scientific university study that shows the effectiveness of the masks because they do not work. Secondly, when we talk about daily reporting, we are reporting on a daily basis the new coronaviruses. For perspective, can we also show the new influenza outbreaks? We have that on a daily basis as well. But there seems to be
Thank you, Rick. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Lenka Koloma. I'm holistic health practitioner and expert in immunity. This is my third time here. And last time I spoke about this coronavirus, that this is all about. And I'm demanding, as a citizen and health professional, not legalized drug dealer, to have answers when and where this coronavirus has been isolated and specific tests developed so we can actually diagnose these people. I still have $5,000 reward out there that no one has claimed. Please, can you bring those people so they can claim their money? I'm becoming very impatient with this. If you have never spent a night with mosquito in your room, well, this is your time. I will be coming back and I will be demanding justice. Because what you are engaging yourself in is medical fraud. And I hope you all understand what that means.
Your time
That's
is
a
up.
prison sentence. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Nicole Monte Brown of Costa Mesa. The way the FBI tells it, William Rosario Lopez put on a surgical mask and walked into the Connecticut convenience store looking to the world like a typical pandemic-era shopper as he picked up plastic wrap, fruit snacks, and some other items. Then when the only other customer left, he went to the counter, pulled out a small pistol, pointed at the clerk, and demanded the cash register be opened. The FBI continued and said, "It underscores a troubling new reality of law enforcement. Masks that have made criminals stand apart long before bandana-wearing robbers knocked over stagecoaches in the Old West and ski mask bandits held up banks now allow them to blend in like concerned accountants, nurses, and store clerks, trying to avoid a deadly virus. However, the virus has been proven to be no more deadly than a common flu. To continue, in addition to rare jailbreaks, the prevalence of masks in society have created other problems for law enforcement. Before life in a pandemic, mask marauders had to free their faces immediately after leaving a bank or
Thank you.
store to avoid
Your time is
suspicion
up.
once in the general public. But it came with the risk of being photographed
Thank you.
and identified omnipresent surveillance cameras and cell phones.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Next speaker, please.
Since I only have 1 minute, and instead of bloviating, Chairman Steele, I'd like to ask the board 3 simple questions. It is very concerning that your healthcare agency is in utter disarray with 3 significant resignations as of late. Superintendent Doe, how do you justify an entrepreneur who owns 2 Rockin' Crawfish as health director? And second question, why wasn't Dr. Chow's fine relevant in his hiring? So I'm not allowed to ask questions? Is that how this works? I'm a citizen of Irvine. I've lived in Orange County for 50 years, and you're not answering my questions. Well, that's pretty sad. That's why we're here. My third question, since you're not answering the first 2, is Superintendent Steele, Lily Summering, your co-director of Orange County, says there are no vaccines for a virus that is 99.9947% recovery rate. If you really believe that is so bad, then why are you allowing COVID patients from south of the border to be placed in senior living centers?
Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Sad people.
Next speaker, please. We need help in that room.
My name is Kristen Crofina. Supervisors, are you listening to your constituents? Can you hear me speak right now? Can you all hear me speak right now? We all know that there are no legal grounds for this local health emergency to continue. Are you allowing this order to stand in order to get state funding? This would be fraud, which is a felony. Each of you are complicit in this. Supervisor Wagner, you spoke last week that there are very good reasons that the public is not trusting this governing body. Yes, our faith is dwindling, to say the least. I'm horrified that you're continuing this charade week after week. We have 3.2 million people in this county, and as of yesterday, we have only 177 COVID deaths. I'm tired of hearing about the number of cases. Of course they're going to go up. It's your duty to terminate this local health emergency. Otherwise, the powerful people behind me and many more will be forming a lawsuit, a very visible lawsuit against all of you individually.
Your time is up.
Furthermore, why are we
Thank you.
taking health advice from Dr. Chow, who's
Your time is up. Next speaker, please.
Do I start?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Rodillo, and thank you, Madam Chair. We are sovereign human beings with rights endowed to us by God, our Creator, protected by the Constitution. I am done asking public servants for permission to live my life, and every place of business and church that chooses to open without restrictions needs to stop asking permission. Those who want to stay home have the freedom to do that. Borrowing from words of a friend. Sane people do not create a servant to expand itself as a master over them. Learn the lawful order of authority here. We the people are the inventor and master of the government, not the other way around. Government derives its just power from the consent of the governed. Be on notice. The public health officer is an unelected, unaccountable advisor to the board, but you are individually accountable for your acts on behalf of the people. You are elected, sworn, and trusted, paid from the public trust, and presumed to know the Constitution as the supreme law.
Thank you.
superseding
Your
all
time is up.
statutes and the good deeds and best.
Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Brigitte.
Next speaker, please. Your time is up. We need deputy sheriffs to help there in that room. Supervisor Wagner.
Yeah, Madam Chair, for the speakers in the other room, just so you know, the microphone is cut off when the minute is over. So you can keep talking, but the truth is, because of the way the sound system is set up, we can't hear. And I would urge, Madam Chair, that the next speaker's time begin to run when that minute is up for the first speaker so that we can move the speakers along.
Okay. Bridget?
Chairman Steele, beware of the military industrial complex. Beware of the healthcare industrial complex. The coronavirus is a PSYOP, people. It's a smokescreen to get you forced to vaccination ID to control your life. That's the bottom line, people. It's being used as a PSYOP. Don't rise up and wake up. This is all, and you guys are breaking your oath. When you take an oath and you see criminal behavior and you don't do anything about it, you're complicit with that criminal behavior. And the people will connect the dots. It's pretty easy. Bill Gates won't get a vaccination. Dr. Fauci, what are the coincidences? Bill Gates, he won't get a vaccination. Dr. Fauci, they have patents on a vaccination. They took out bonds, people, on this blinking pandemic in 2017. It includes the coronavirus. And it's payable, it matures July 15th.
Your time is up.
That.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, I just wanted to come in. I'm a mom, and I have a daughter that's going into kindergarten next year, and I'm really concerned about this mask thing that's happening. Everyone here has made really good points, but these masks also contradict your own guidelines. Wearing a face mask may give a false sense of security and make people adopt a reduction in compliance with other infection control measures, including social distancing and hand washing. Inappropriate use of a face mask must not touch their face, must change their single-use masks frequently or wash them regularly, dispose them correctly, not in the streets like we see them everywhere, and adopt other management measures, otherwise their risk and those of others may increase. the quality and volume of speech between people wearing masks is considerably compromised, and they may unconsciously come closer. We already see that happening. Wearing a mask makes the exhaled air go into the eyes, and it irritates your eyes, and you want to touch your eyes more. And especially with children, as adults, we already struggle with this. And how are
Your
children
time is up.
expected to not want to touch their
Thank
face
you.
in their mask? And also, have you
Thank
thought
you.
about the social emotional development? And the microphone is not
Thank
why
you.
you can't.
Next speaker, please.
My name is Brian Murphy. I'd like to address the supervisors and bring to attention an article that recently came out, very recently, April of 2020, being submitted to the British Medical Journal, entitled Face Masks and Similar Barriers to Prevent Respiratory Illness such as COVID-19, a Rapid Systematic Review. This is a very excellent review article of all the studies involved in face masks, and the authors conclude the following. The evidence is not sufficiently strong to support widespread use of face masks as a protective measure against COVID-19. However, there is enough evidence to support the use of face masks for short periods of time by particularly vulnerable individuals when in transient higher risk situations. Further high-quality trials are needed to assess when wearing a face mask in the community
Thank
is
you.
most likely
Your
to be
time is up.
protective.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Mary Ann Smith from San Juan Capistrano. I'm a registered nurse, 30 years. Masks are unhealthy. Why? Because we are human. We breathe oxygen. It is necessary for life. Our body is the most perfect organism on earth. We have a respiratory and immune system to fight this disease automatically for us. A mask impedes this process. The response of government leaders to keep us safe destroyed us all. We are imprisoned by lockdowns, personal masks over our face, mouth, and nose, jobs lost, businesses destroyed by mobs. Socialization, the fallout is suicide, social shaming, neighbors turned against each other, mental illness. To be human now is a crime, punishable by $1,000 for no masks worn, forced quarantines times 14 days, no human contact. Masks are meant to control us, force submission, dehumanize, demoralize, and identify those who defy.
Thank you.
I do
Your
not
time
comply.
is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Morton Irvine Smith, San Juan Capistrano. This is your new normal. The sick game of control is over. COVID is exposed as nothing more than a severe flu affecting individuals with pre-existing conditions, hyped by an evil axis of treasonous politics, faux science, and global elitists with a corrupt media as their messenger. Law enforcement has abandoned you. At first, you had them arrest families at parks and churches, and now you sit aimlessly and watch your governor and the state while these men are assassinated in the state capitol and are just severely abused by the citizenry for a political agenda. Number 3, citizens will not obey you. You have cost them their jobs, their families, and their existence. And you know who they blame? They blame you because somehow you don't see clearly. Number 4, this is the one that you probably will pay attention to the most. Your political future
Your
is
time
at
is
stake.
up. Next speaker, please.
You're in a no-win.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. We cannot hear you, so thank you. Next speaker, please.
Attorney Lee Dundas. I could say a lot of things, but what I want to say in the main right now is thank you. Last night was a good start. I could talk to you about studies. You all know, I know I'm hands down. I could talk to you about the fact that the World Health Organization last night came out and said asymptomatic spread of coronavirus is very rare. Patients without symptoms are not driving the spread of the disease. But what I really, really want to say is you know better than to mask healthy people, and now you know better than to mask even COVID-positive patients if they're asymptomatic. You need to help finish the game. There is an email going to you that's 2.5 minutes. I suggest you watch it. Oh, and by the way, we're going to be stretching our legs today in the hot sun. It's supposed to be 100 degrees because there's still a mandatory mask order in effect. I suggest you might want to join us. We have some extra masks out front.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Steve Dundas, healthcare provider in Orange County. The experts have all been wrong. Mad cow, bird flu, swine flu, COVID-19. Millions will die, they say. All wrong. Show me the money and not the dirty stuff Clayton Chow's been taking from special interests. We need science, real science, double-blind, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed, published, and lots of it. Not some website quote from a healthcare organization that's been weaponized as a political tool of oppression. Knock that crap off. Clayton Chow keeps droning on about risk, but there's risk getting out of bed, getting in and out of the shower, eating breakfast, getting in a car. Life has risk. We don't need him mitigating it for us. And this 1 minute, is that all it takes to hire a healthcare officer? Come on, people, wake up.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, my husband and I own a large business in Orange County, and additionally, I am a mother. I am aware many people will speak to you today about the science behind the ineffectiveness of wearing masks to stop the spread of COVID. I imagine the announcement from the WHO about asymptomatic carriers not spreading it is also very welcome. I, however, would like to speak to you about safety. This Saturday, I witnessed a man walk into a crowd of Black Lives Matter protesters in Huntington Beach. He was a Caucasian male who was questioning what I believe to be were paid Antifa protesters that were covered with full face ski masks, helmets, goggles, and mouth coverings. They were 100% completely unidentifiable. I then witnessed them attack the man. They were punching him and hitting him with their protest sign sticks. He had no idea who his attackers were, as did none of us watching, and it was terrifying. These attackers ran off and seamlessly blended into a large crowd of other protesters with their faces fully concealed. People are now able to commit crimes while fully shielding their faces from sight. This
Your
must
time
stop.
is up.
As a business owner,
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Your time is up. Next speaker, please.
I begin with the question, are you smarter than a fifth grader? I remember teaching my own fifth graders about the respiratory system. These 10-year-olds understood the most basic important element needed by the human body is oxygen. They understood the basic process of respiration. Breathe oxygen in, blow carbon dioxide out. Very simple. They understood that the reason why our lungs blow out CO2 is because it is a waste product the body does not need nor want in the blood. They understood the best thing to do with the waste product is to get it out of the system. So I ask you, why in the name of science and health would you require people, especially children, to wear a mask only to rebreathe the waste product the body wants to get rid of? My fifth grade students, 10 and 11-year-olds, understood the basic process of respiration very well. So I ask you today, are you smarter than a fifth grader? If so, let that reflect in your decision making.
Thank you. Can you give us your name and city of residence, please? Can you give us your name and city of residence before you start speaking?
Yvonne
Thank you.
Blankenship from Anaheim. I'm not condoning what happened to George Floyd, but I would like to know why, as a career criminal allowed to have 3 funerals, and my 89-year-old mother-in-law, who passed a few weeks ago, is only allowed to have 5 in attendance at her funeral. She has 5 children, so that means that my 3 kids and I will not be allowed to attend. These 3 children will not be allowed to go tell their grandmother goodbye. Where is the injustice? How is this fair, and how is this right? One last question. If coronavirus is so contagious, why aren't you sanitizing this podium?
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Ashley Reeves from Anaheim, California. First, I want to say that it is absolutely abhorrent that you have limited our speech to 1 minute when you have over 100 people in that hall coming here to speak to you because you don't acknowledge them otherwise. Not that you acknowledge us here, but You are elected by us. You are supposed to listen to us. Secondly, this mask mandate is ridiculous. Our own governor was spotted out with protesters and people cleaning the community that he allowed them to destroy, not properly wearing a mask. So if you want to continue to hold this mask order in place, then our elected officials should be showing by how to wear a mask properly. Secondly, it's supposed to be 100 degrees outside. And when people start out there passing out because they're wearing masks, waiting to come in here to speak for 1 minute, you're going to be held accountable for it. You guys are ridiculous. Listen to the people.
Thank you.
Resend your
Your
order.
time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Am I good? Okay, my name is Logan. I just have a couple questions. For one, about the mask. One is, what evidence, as required by state law, by the way, what evidence have the health officials submitted to you that supports their orders? If you have them, we'd like to see them. And I'm curious, are you aware that there's no reputable medical science or evidence that supports healthy people wearing masks? Are you aware of this? And if you are, then why do you support it? And if you do have evidence or science, then why don't you support it to us? And then we can look at it, because I think we have a right to know, right? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Loretta. By continuing to keep people in masks, separated and out of work with no legitimate cause, you are kneeling on the necks of the people, and you are continuing to act in a thuggish manner. As you are aware, you work for the public, and the public demands that you terminate this local health emergency by vote today. We are looking at each and every individual one of you. You are all culpable, and you are all responsible. You are looking at elections, and you may not get them.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Nancy Toomey, a mother of 3. Everyone's spoken so well for me. You already know that you're committing fraud. You were hoping that we wouldn't notice, I suppose, that you were committing fraud. I've asked myself my entire life, how can people that have children and families commit these acts? How could they enslave our children and dash their dreams? And are you going to be able to be hold yourself responsible when the increase in suicide is hitting our youth? I have a child that it's personally affecting because of this situation. You've canceled all their sports in any way to engage, and now you want them masked all day. So not only, God willing, will you go to prison for your fraud, but you will be judged by your Maker. I just can't believe that you are okay with yourselves. How do you sleep at night? How do you tuck your children in at night?
Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Julie, and I just want to reiterate what others have said, that there's no lawful reason for us to have this state of emergency, and I'm asking for it to end now. I live near 2 hospitals for the past 2 years. I would hear about 3 sirens a month. The day of this shutdown, I would hear 5 sirens a day. This is not COVID patients. These are people having anxiety attacks, heart attacks, other health incidences. We're not saving lives by staying home. We are trading lives. And this is not fair to the people who are healthy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Alan Hostetter. I ask that you please return us to freedom and health and allow mask wearing to be voluntary. George Floyd was murdered, and all responsible for his murder should be jailed for life or executed. Mr. Chafee, Black Lives Matter has joined forces with Antifa, anarchists, and communists, and now threaten our way of life as they try to overthrow our government. Lastly, I have never in my life seen a governing body show such contempt and disdain for the population they serve, ever. And I've been to many governing bodies. You should hang your heads in shame.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Dale. I'm of Laguna Woods, Orange County, and this lockdown has lasted too long, It is unfair, unjust. It keeps the young people from working. They need to go back to work, maybe 6 weeks ago at least. And I don't believe it's saving any lives. A lot of the people, you know, I'm 82 years old, and I'm staying in place, and I'm out here today to support the group. And we have been given a lot of misinformation about COVID, and I believe it's pretty much like a flu. We need to get herd immunity to it, and we can't do that if we're all locked up. We need to get the young people out again, get them working, get the people who are going to college, people back in their schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. Yeah, Krista Jade again, sorry. I want to finish what I spoken earlier. I happened to go through the OC Health Facebook page, and there proudly, the OC Health staff took a knee. Black Lives Matter. I'm so disappointed. I'm Asian, I'm Chinese. Do you know yesterday there was a group of Vietnamese was down there protesting. They want to open up their business. All lives matter. And why OC Health should be non-partisan and should be all lives matter. And they say that white coats for BLM. I think that is not fair, that is not right. And whoever is in charge of that agency, please look into it. I mean, I feel very offended. Do you mean that my Chinese life is not matter? Those Asian business does not matter? You have time to take a knee. Please take a knee for all those businesses.
Thank you.
Those. Thank
Your
you.
time is up. Next speaker, please.
My name is Wyatt Hagar. I am 10 years old and I have asthma. Even though I have asthma, they still make me wear a mask. So I have to go and find a place where no one is and pull down my mask. I have to do this very, very frequently, or hold my breath for a long time, which makes it worse. I do not consent to wearing masks at all. I do not like that I am made to feel like I'm doing something wrong or illegal when I'm just trying to breathe. People who believe in making everybody wear masks think that my health issues and other people's health issues are less important than the super low chance of giving coronavirus to other people. People under 65 are more likely to be struck by lightning or die in a car crash than die from coronavirus, according to the CDC. That is why making everybody wear masks, especially people with asthma like me, is wrong. To whoever here is making us wear masks, please
Thank
stop
you.
and think about your decision.
Your
Thank
time
you.
is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
That was my son. Please stop discriminating against people who have medical conditions, like my son, who suffer from asthma, or hearing impaired individuals who cannot hear when others are wearing masks. And please stop discriminating against people like me, healthy individuals trying to do my job. I am a speech therapist and now cannot do my job because I'm required to cover my mouth. How will young children be able to learn when they are unable to see and hear the people who are teaching them? I know none of you are speech therapists, but you shouldn't be dictating to me how to do my job. None of this is based on science, but rather a nefarious political agenda to silence the people and strip freedoms from hardworking Americans. Please reconsider what you're doing.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Kira. I'm 17 years old, and I'm from Fullerton. Can you tell me why you support the public being harassed and intimidated in places of business when our state civil code protects me from discrimination based on my medical condition and allows for my free and equal access for all business establishments of any kind whatsoever? My sister has severe anxiety, and when she has a mask on, she has panic attacks. It is not okay for her to feel like she can't go out into the world right now because for risk of being intimidated and being kicked out of somewhere, for her to be healthy and not have a panic attack and flip herself out, which is not okay. My brother, he's deaf. He can't hear. So when people talk to him with a mask on, he doesn't know what they're saying. That's not okay. You're limiting him from being able to go places, from being able to actually understand individuals when they're speaking to him. That's not okay at all. You need to make it allowed for anybody to choose whether or not they can wear a mask. Not mandatory. This is not okay at all. I do not like any of this that's happening. Why do you condone discrimination against those?
Your time is up. Thank you.
Not okay.
Hello, my name is Chris Dukes, and I represent Protection for Educational Rights for Kids. I represent thousands of families in Orange County. The World Health Organization stated this week asymptomatic transmission is rare. There are 2 studies to confirm this. CDC website also posts that the fatality rate is 0.26%. This is less than half the rate of the risk of a flu shot. The CDC also does not cite anywhere on their website to support the distancing rule. There is no scientific evidence to back this up. So my question to you is, what evidence required by the state have health officers submitted to you to support their orders? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Beatty in Fullerton. Can you tell me why you support the public being harassed and intimidated in places of business when our state civil code protects me from discrimination based on my medical condition and allows for my free and equal access to all business establishments of any kind whatsoever? I'm constantly denied access to stores to buy food for my family because I have a medical issue that I cannot wear a mask. I should not have to be required to have my groceries delivered. I should be allowed to go to a store. My son is hard of hearing. He cannot hear people with a mask on, and you're denying him access to be able to communicate with other people for no scientific evidence that this even works. So you need to get off your high horse and do what's right.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, supervisors. Matt and Taylor from Placentia. 4 weeks ago, we spoke about the psychological warfare being laid upon our children and about the need for them to be back on the field or back on their court with their teams. In 4 weeks, we have seen very little progress, if none at all. And it's just sickening and it's alarming. These children need to be back on the field, not in 2 weeks, now. As you can see, Taylor's got a soccer uniform on, and we're still not playing soccer. Supervisor Chafee, I am in your district, and you've been very mum on this. You need to start fighting for our children now.
I'm tired of all that's going on, and I want to be back on the field now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Matt Grippy. I live in La Habra. We hear a lot about the death toll of COVID-19, but we don't seem to ever put those numbers into context. COVID-19 is currently responsible for 400,000 deaths worldwide, including 113,000 Americans. Let's weigh this against the 1957 influenza pandemic, which killed more than 1 million people worldwide, including 116,000 Americans. Then there was the 1968 Hong Kong flu pandemic that killed 1 million people worldwide, including 100,000 Americans. It's important to note that no draconian control measures were taken in the United States for either of these pandemics, and we made it through with our society and also our civil liberties intact. Unprecedented, unprecedented, unprecedented. The only thing that's unprecedented about the current pandemic is our reaction to it. This country was founded on the premise of minimum necessary government intervention. We, the people, should not be allowing state or local governments to dictate what we must wear over our faces. We need to ask ourselves if we're not sacrificing our future prosperity for a little temporary security. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I wanted to bring you today an image because today, in this world, images have been defining public opinion and public action and governmental and laws. The image I want to bring you today stands right beside me. This is Fred Clark, 95 years old. 75 years ago, took a leg full of shrapnel, which he carries today. He went and fought where, Dad? Where did you fight?
What's that?
Where did you fight?
In the Philippine Islands in World War II.
And his fight was for your freedom, my freedom, his freedom, and everybody that's here today. So I bring you a call for freedom, and that's my message for you today. Consider it when you are considering this vote. Consider freedom.
And I brought back a Purple Heart.
Thank you.
Right this way, Dad. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Madam Chairman, Board of Supervisors, I am Emma Clark from Huntington Beach. That was my father.
Have you heard of the Great Awakening that's going on right now? It's around the world. Many people like me are realizing that it's been our deplorable lack of involvement that has allowed rampant corruption that we currently observe. No more. Having researched for hours on end, it is overwhelmingly clear to me that the law and the science dictate that this state of emergency is invalid. You've heard abundant presentations from professionals affirming these same conclusions, yet you continue to extend the state of emergency? What should be a straightforward decision to terminate this local health emergency has become confused, obscured, and dodgy. I am here to demand a vote today to end what has become tyranny in Orange County. The growing masses of Orange County residents who are waking up, just like me, to this egregious miscarriage of justice.
Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. As Orange County supervisors, you have the legal power and authority to terminate this unlawful local emergency. You also have a duty to the constituents that elected you to do this immediately. There are no longer any grounds for this emergency order. A health emergency is defined as an imminent and proximate threat of an introduction of an infectious disease. This local emergency was declared in February. We are well past an imminent and proximate threat of the introduction of COVID-19. The introduction is over. If you allow this local health emergency order to continue when there are no grounds to do so, then you are perpetrating fraud on the public. How much money is your agency receiving from state and federal government in emergency aid? Are you all aware that you are at risk of being charged with a felony for fraud for accepting emergency funding and what has now become a non-emergency status? It seems that you are intentionally misrepresenting the local health emergency just so you can receive state and federal funds. You work for the public, and the public demands that you terminate this local health emergency.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. You are already aware that there is no reputable medical science and evidence that supports healthy people wearing masks. So why do you support this? Why are you perpetrating fraud on the public by allowing local health emergency to continue when there are no grounds to do so? Would you please explain how my religious beliefs protect me or not from having to wear a mask? Can you tell me why you support the public being harassed and intimidated in places of business when our state civil code protects me from discrimination based on my medical condition and allows for my free and equal access to all businesses, establishments of any kind whatsoever? Why have you given away your authority by allowing the health officers to defy your requests for information? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Linda Nickerson, HB. I'm standing before you representing many of our residents who feel forced to put a mask on or be bullied or worse yet, not let into essential establishments. I can't walk into a grocery store at 8 a.m. to grocery shop without a mask. The original mandate was when you can't keep social distancing requirements, but the businesses are mandating masks whether there's 3 or 30 people in the store. Making our children wear masks is contrary to the medical experts, and it's fundamentally wrong. They need to be exposed to bacteria in the air, playing on jungle gyms. Kids need sunlight, exercise, interaction, youth sports, and prayer without masks. If you deny them that, in 20 years, you're going to have a population of immunosuppressed, antisocial adults who can only interact via Zoom and FaceTime and need gloves to shake your hand. We need to take advice from medical experts, not chow. The CDC came out with an article this week denouncing the ability of asymptomatic patients to spread the virus. There have been no spikes in deaths given protests, rallies, and those poor kids in the Ozark that got raked over the coals because they were having a wonderful weekend on Memorial Day. I refuse to wear a mask. If you want to wear one, please do so. But I'm please asking you to rescind the mandatory mask requirement. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
We've not yet been mandated to wear face masks up to this point. There have been plenty of us not doing it, and yet we have not spread COVID-19 wildly out of control. When this all first started, no one was social distancing, obsessively cleaning, or staying home. Yet the virus did not take off and kill massive amounts of our population, contrary to wildly inaccurate projections. The data shows that places that have never locked down due to their security, to their society, have average numbers of case and death rates resembling ours, whether countries or other states. There's no science to show that the lockdown works, that social distancing works, or that face masks work. Yet there's plenty of information from various doctors about how face masks are detrimental to the person wearing one. And in fact, there were reports of people dying from the use of them, collapsing a lung from face mask use, losing consciousness, and other serious health problems. As far as I can tell, this arbitrary decision has been made based only on peer pressure. If
Thank
everyone
you.
else is doing it, it
Your
must be
time is
followed,
up.
right?
Thank you.
I received an email this week from a dance studio I used to attend back in the days when we were allowed to do things like attend dance classes. Let me read you part of it. It is with a heavy heart that I announce our permanent closing. We tried and tried for help and relief from so many different avenues, but have not found anything truly viable from anywhere or anyone. Like most small businesses, we need to be open to stay open. Most customers have no idea how insanely expensive it is to operate a small business in Orange County. I've spent over 8 years of my life building my studio, my brand, community, and the pandemic bankrupted the business in 4 short months. A hairdresser in Lake Forest told me she didn't qualify for funds because she had opened just 7 months prior to the lockdown. She'd gone through all her life savings and now was steadily working through her retirement funds. If you actually think that it's better to keep this artificial state of emergency going in order to get state and federal funds, you're greatly mistaken. A tech company that was able to keep open, though with massive loss of business, received a $10,000 grant from Irvine. That's nice, but it's a third of what's needed for payroll alone, a tenth of expenses for 1 month.
Thank you. Your time is up.
All right, rescind the state of emergency. Do not force masks, vaccines, tests, tracing,
Thank
or
you.
any other health-related issues.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My background is in quality engineering in the automotive industry. I'm an accredited lead auditor for GMPs and ISO 9000. And the facts do not correlate to the action. You have no facts to make the claims that you're making, and in certain industries, this is illegal. And why is it that you get a pass and every other industry doesn't have, they have to follow the rules? Regulations are made for a reason. OSHA standards, I was trained at age 19, I'm age 48, and OSHA regulations say that I have right to breathe clean air. We have Clean Air Acts. You're telling me that I have to breathe in CO2 when God gave this body the ability to extract that from my body, and now you want me to put it back in my body. I have natural rights as a sovereign citizen of the
Thank
United
you.
States.
Your time is up.
And you need to do the right thing and vote your
Thank you.
conscience and stop this state of emergency now.
Good morning. My name is Chris Hostetter, and I speak to you as an individual, but also an educator of 20-plus years. I'm speaking on item number 1, the mask issue. Masking children in school will not work. Children are unable to self-regulate and use the masks correctly. They will do more harm than good. Let me quote to you something from the Constitution of California. Under the California Constitution, public education is, and I quote, uniquely a fundamental concern of the state and prohibits maintenance and operation of the common public school system in a way which denies basic educational equality to the students. Masking children negates that equality.
Thank you. Next time you want to speak, please fill out speaker form. And next speaker, please.
Hello. My name is Quinn Stolars, and I am from Long Beach, California. It started when this pandemic broke out. Stores, restaurants, and now events require all of us to wear masks. In my life so far, I have never been told to wear a mask at a restaurant, and now all of a sudden, we have been told to wear one. For me personally, I can't show my emotions when I am wearing a mask because it covers most of my face. All I can see are the eyes of other people. I can't even smile for the camera because the mask is covering my face. I find wearing masks uncomfortable and difficult to breathe. I am also inhaling my own carbon dioxide, which isn't good for my lungs. What about all the people who have trouble breathing, like the people with asthma? Are they going to have to wear masks all day long? I have asthma too. I can actually die from this. Children should definitely not go to school with masks.
Thank you. Your time is up. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Kristen. I'm speaking in regards to mental health, and so I will read a small snippet of my message. These masks are causing us to feel depressed and ashamed, in addition to our mental health issues. Even if this was a real virus, in which I do not believe it is, even in that case, we need to have the freedom of choice to take precautions. Like if you are sick, I do encourage you to stay home and get medical attention. Otherwise, we should not all be forced to stay home under lockdown, wearing masks anywhere. Get these tests, which are only testing for the antibodies all of us have, which exist to ward off infection when it begins. This COVID-19 agenda has been invented to basically divide and conquer us. If they can drive us apart with social distancing, keep us fighting each other, we will be...
Thank you. Your time is up.
All right.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Lori Flavel, and I am an educator in Fullerton. Mr. Chafee, I had the pleasure of teaching your son many years ago. I'm also a former board member for the Orange County Regional Center, which helps to provide support for individuals with disabilities. I served that board many years ago after my son sustained such significant injuries from his routine childhood vaccinations that he will continue to require 24/7 assistance for the rest of his life. I won't belabor the direct statements from the many health authorities that explicitly verify that masks are nothing more than a symbolic gesture and that asymptomatic transmission is substantially more myth than fact. What I am here to say, however, is that each of you are individually responsible to critically discern and apply information to remove this unlawful extension of the emergency order imposed on this county. I'd like to further add that I support any legal action taken to address this board's unlawful actions, not out of preference, but out of necessity to protect my family, especially my son who cannot speak for himself and for whom these decisions are particularly discriminatory and threatening.
Thank you.
To that
Your time
end,
is
I
up.
respectfully request each of you to make the right decision to remove this order. Thank you.
My name is Carol Shalin. I am a naturopath, educating those in my community on how to be healthy and stay healthy. Americans have been hoodwinked. Wearing a mask will cause more harm than good. I have family members who have fought to preserve the land of the free and the home of the brave. My brother-in-law died serving this country. My dad was wounded in the Korean War. My son-in-law served this country for 11 years. When we put on the mask, we give up our freedom of speech. Our voice is no longer heard. I will not dishonor those who have lived and died for this country. I will stand up and speak up, and I will not go away. Terminate this local health emergency. You have the power and the authority and the legal duty to make a motion for a vote to terminate this unlawful local health emergency. Please, I pray that you will do the right thing.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Terry Webster. I'm a kindergarten teacher at a private school here in Orange County. I'm here representing families from my school and many schools. The parents, for the first time, are actually fearful to bring their children to school in the fall with these mandates that are being placed. I don't know if you're aware all of the families that are taking their children out of public schools because of these mandates and trying to find the private schools that will work around these. Luckily, my school has an open mind and making masks optional. So I'm asking for you to do the right thing. These mandates that you're putting upon us are illegal, and it's been expired. And I hope when you go to bed tonight that you have a good conscience and that you have a clear mind that you've done the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Vicki Smith. This emergency is illegal, it's immoral, it's unconstitutional, and it's wrong. You were once on this side of the wall. Now you're there because we put you there. And we're asking you today to vote against this now, to open up Orange County, be the leaders that we elected you to be, set a standard for the state of California that LA, San Diego, Ventura, San Bernardino County would follow. You need to stop this now. We are counting on you. These are the faces of Orange County. We will not be silenced. We will remember you now, and we'll remember you when it comes time to vote.
Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Maureen. I'm an educator, I'm a teacher, and I live in Long Beach. Every day I wake up in shock. I am shocked that the land of the free has become the land of the slave. This Orange County emergency order is invalid now. COVID-19 was declared an emergency back in February. Now, almost 4 months later, with the curve flattened, the sun is out. The virus is not an emergency anymore. An emergency order is only valid in the imminent stage of an emergency and can last only 60 days. We are over 90 days into this emergency order, so it is null and void. We are in the rebuilding stage, so end it now. There is no way you can send students back to school wearing masks. No credible science backs this. And I repeat, no credible science. With this mask and emergency order still in place, you are destroying lives and making people sick. There are reports that children have even died of suffocation wearing masks.
Your
Mask
time
wearing
is
a
up.
death
Thank
sentence.
you.
It is only a matter of time before
Your
more.
time is up. Please, we cannot hear you, so thank you. Next speaker, please.
Happy day. You appointed Dr. Chow in charge of the mental health and the health agencies. You do realize he has a current criminal record for accepting money from Big Pharma? Look, I've got a criminal record. Mine's over 25 years old, and I've rehabilitated myself, and you've ignored me. But when Dr. Chow says, let's do this, let's make money, you say, let's go. When a man named Luis Pena comes to you and says, I need money, and he says, you're a bunch of clowns, you're a bunch of assholes, you jump and you give him money. When people come here and are polite and respectful, even bearing gifts, I didn't buy any of those. I found wood and I carved your names into those blocks of wood. I took time and energy and resources and I presented gifts to you and I shared them with you, and you've ignored them. You run to Martin Gardner and you put innocent people in mental health facilities and jails.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Happy day.
Next
Be
speaker,
back next
please.
week.
Starting my time now.
Yes, go ahead.
I just want the respect of eye contact, so I know that even though you aren't listening, you're sort of listening. The lady next to you, can she stop tweeting or whatever she's doing?
You know what? Why don't you just go ahead? You have
So
39
no, I can't have your respect. Got it. So I got 45 more seconds. I just want to say I do agree and affirm that the continuance of this emergency order is both unlawful and fraudulent. Oh, I do have her icon. No, I don't have it again. This whole farce, like the utter disrespect of her not even looking at me. Okay, I get it. I get 10 seconds of your time. Thank you. We're tired. We're tired of the disrespect and the disregard. We, the free people of the United States and California, will only tolerate this so long. So just know that. This guy in the end can't be bothered, though.
Your time is up.
You will be bothered.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Oh, you, yeah.
Next speaker, please.
Can my time start now? Thank you. Still not giving eye contact? Gentleman on the end? No? Nothing? Kind of look at me with a side eye. Okay. Last night, you had a good start. Quick leaving was the first decision you've made in months I can agree with. Then you had to go and ruin it by appointing her former boss in her place. Vote today to end this health order, born of rotten fruit. Appoint an independent voice to that position. Get out of your echo chamber. Get off your phones and pay attention. Regain your positive momentum loss, lest we continue our momentum and you all end up out of a job or in jail. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
You know, my dad taught me that if you're paying attention, that I'll have all your eyes on me. I see that he doesn't really care. His back's towards me. I personally know someone who has been bribed with money to cover their uncle's death as COVID. How much money have you guys been bribed with? It is so shameful that you guys are calling this still a state of emergency when it's not even an emergency. 177 people have died in Orange County. How many of those deaths are actually legit COVID deaths? Yet you still force me and my family to wear masks, to get kicked out of stores because we don't want to wear our masks. I'm not going to have my child, my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old can't go play. Fuck all of you guys. I'm a small business owner in Orange County with a family to feed, and you don't give a fuck.
Your time is up. Next speaker, please.
Okay, ready? So rumor has it that these mandates are based on science. Where is this science? Though you've been given this information from all of us, you're clearly not listening. So let me give you perspective as a school psychologist with science. In addition to the physical health that shows that cloth masks yield a higher risk of infection, carbon dioxide rebreathing and respiratory protective devices influence speech and work rates. So let me tell you a little bit about mental health. A recent study of Chinese children revealed that their strict restrictions to home, their mask mandates, and a reduction of outdoor activities and social interactions was associated with an increase in depression and anxiety. If this continues, we will have a future generation with a continued upward trend of mental health disorders. This is discrimination against students with mental health conditions.
Your time is up.
In this now.
Peggy Hall, Aliso Viejo. And Supervisor Wagner, I'm calling on you today to make a motion to terminate this. You may be immune from COVID. You are not immune from the law. Here's the lawsuit for the San Diego Board of Supervisors individually being sued. We are going to sue you for fraud. Fraud is a felony, and a felony carries a prison sentence. And you are perpetrating fraud on the public by allowing this local health emergency, which has no grounds in California law. This man, Chow, has repeatedly broken the law by refusing to give you evidence as required by law to support this. Are you aware that unless you terminate this unlawful local health emergency today by vote, you are required to do so by the California Emergency Services Act? You cannot allow this to stay. It must be terminated at the earliest date possible, which is today. And you are aware that you work for the public, and the public demands you to terminate this today.
Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Okay. Hello, my name is Heidi Menzie, and I'm a Fountain Valley resident, and I'm here to ask the board to terminate the local health emergency in our county today. According to the California law, a local health emergency can be called if there is an imminent and approximate threat of an introduction of an infectious disease. Imminent means about to happen. Proximate means closest in relationship or immediate. So in other words, not an order forced upon us almost 3 months later. The introduction to this was in February. It's uncalled for, it's unconstitutional, and you are forcing more OC residents to cover our faces without proper science or data to show it even works. And I had to cut a lot off, but what I really care about is how these orders you force upon us have destroyed human interaction, human compassion, human decency. This order has ripped human contact away and the ability to act loving towards humans. It's disgusting how much this order
Your time is
has
up.
divided
Next
our families,
speaker,
friends.
please.
Good morning, everybody. I really do appreciate your time. I'm not going to speak for the first few seconds. I'm going to let Dr. Fauci speak.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is. And often there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with the mask and they keep touching their face.
And can you get some schmutz sort of staying inside there?
Of course. But when you think masks, you should think of healthcare providers needing them.
I'm an MBA from Notre Dame. I moved here 5 years ago with my family. I left a $120 million a year business behind. I'm not a health professional, but I know I've been lied to. What I also know is that all of the businesses around here that trade between states, not just within the country, they're marked to market. There is regulatory risk that
Your
you
time
guys
is
are
up.
doing. The multiples are going down.
Thank
They're going to
you.
affect your tax
Thank you.
people. Your
Next speaker, please.
Hello. My name is Darlene Alquiza, born and raised in Fullerton. I have a science degree specializing in research methodology and a master's degree in human development. First, I must say I am confused that you want to stand in solidarity with protesters who are not wearing masks and social distancing while imposing masks and social distancing. Epidemiologists and doctors who have expert knowledge on respiratory viruses confirm that respiratory viruses have predictable characteristics, and we know who the at-risk groups are regarding COVID. Given these two facts, we know that respiratory viruses weaken as they pass through the general population. We can open up the county and only focus on protecting the at-risk groups. Even the CDC, in an updated version of their COVID guidance on June 3rd, says nothing about masks. The CDPH and Department of Ed made their guidance using the CDC's guidance from April. So what we are doing needs to be reviewed and revised. We need to focus on our ICU and death rates, and they continue to prove
Thank you.
extremely
Your
low.
time is
There's
up.
no longer an immediate
Thank you.
emergency. Reports on
Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Kristen. I'm from Buena Park. This is Orange County right here. Everybody here is Orange County. All of you see me. All of you supervisors, I've called, I've emailed all of you. I work and live in Orange County. I'm a homeowner. I pay taxes here. Let me tell you something. Everything you're doing is unlawful, and you know it. And how dare you do a Pledge of Allegiance when you're stomping on our rights as we speak at this moment? My father fought in Vietnam. My whole family is military. Let me tell you, you are stomping on our rights. Are you willing to go to jail for this? Are you willing? Because we have lawsuits pending right now. And all of you, guess what? Orange is the new black. And Orange County will see all of you with it. Because if you don't vote it down now, us, the people, are going to go to the streets. We're going to take it out into the public. We're going to keep coming. We're going to keep coming, and we're not going to stop. So I'm looking at all 5 of you, and I know which ones. All of you have gotten my emails. You've gotten my calls. You've heard our voices here. You have to stop this order now. It is not lawful. You are hurting our society. You are hurting our schools. And
Your time is up. Thank you.
And you can tell
Next speaker, please.
Hello? Hello, I've got some copies for the Board of Supervisors, so who do I give them to?
What's your name and where do you live?
So my name is Moises, and I live in... And I filled out a form.
My name is Owen, and I filled out a form too. So that's 2 minutes for both. No, that's 2 minutes for us. So don't cut us off. Can you please request that the Health Care Agency provide you a response to the following questions? Question 1, can you please provide me with the published research studies that show kids wearing masks for several hours does not cause brain damage or respiratory complications? Question 2, where are the medical studies that show that kids that wear masks for several hours per day does not cause psychological damage?
Can you give me the medical studies that show that young children, like my little sister Magdalena, understand that they are getting enough oxygen when they're wearing a mask? In the United States, the Constitution also applies to us kids. Why are you not protecting our rights? Why are dogs and cats protected more than kids?
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Masks do not protect others. They hurt others and you. We are one and we will be one to eternity. I love my family and I want to go someplace with them. But I can't because of the shutdown.
What's your name and where do you live?
My name's Emery.
Thank you for coming out. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Catherine, and I live in Tustin, and I'm here to speak about what so many other people have spoken about this morning, the questioning why there's a persistent dialogue about this health emergency, when we have all seen the WHO data saying that asymptomatic transmission is not as they thought. Quoted from an article on Monday, she says, an asymptomatic person actually transmitting onward to a secondary individual is rare. Coronavirus patients without symptoms aren't driving the spread of this virus. And also the updated death rate from the CDC to 0.26% to 0.4%, but yet our own flu vaccine has a death rate, you can read it on the insert of the label, of 0.6%. So I don't understand why we accept a higher death rate for this flu shot that we actually encourage people to take, but for this COVID situation, we've shut down our economy and harming kids. So the state of emergency seems to be that we're losing our constitutional rights for a false global pandemic. And
Thank you. Your time is up. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Gabriela. 1 minute, really, I don't even know what we can fit in 1 minute. I mean, you limited our time to go to 1 minute, but we're not going away, guys. We came here with 100 people, and you keep cutting us off. We're going to come back next week with 500 people, so stop doing that. We are mama bears. We're going to protect our kids no matter what, so we're not going away. If you keep cutting us off, and if you're not listening to us, we're coming to your office to protest. We're coming to your homes to protest. We're coming wherever you are because you represent us, and you're not listening to us. And, you know, I just came back from Nevada, and we went to a resort. Nobody's there wearing a mask. There's people, thousands of people here in California protesting. Guys, it's over. Like, really? Like, you know? I mean, are we still talking about this? Like, it's over, you know, this lockdown. I mean, you're looking at numbers and data, and, you know, I go to a resort, nobody's wearing a mask. Then I come here, everybody's wearing a mask. I go to a protest, nobody's wearing a mask.
Thank you. Your time is up. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name's Jim Golding, and I didn't prepare anything to say, but I'm just here to register the fact that I'm getting tired of a type of draconian, Orwellian harassment when I want to go about my daily life. All of you are ignoring the science and you're ignoring the law, and you're going to be taken to task for it, and that's why I'm here today. I want to see every one of you charged and prosecuted, and I want to see you in jail for the people that are dying. We have people dying more people dying from the flu, from suicide, and from wearing the mask now, and you all sit there deadpan like you don't care. I don't believe that one of you care about human life in Orange County, okay? You're up on your high horse ignoring the people. You work for us, capiche? So you better act, and you better act quickly, because I want to see every one of you personally charged and serving time. People are dying.
Your time is up.
You're ignoring
Thank
it.
you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Ashley Dunnigan, and I have been a proud resident of Orange County my entire life. And right now, I am ashamed to live here. We should be standing for freedom and liberty and justice. That is what America is about. And I can tell you that by denying people access to jobs to provide for their families, denying them access to freedom to move around and assemble, and freedom to have medical treatments that they need. On April 21st of this year, my great-grandfather died. My children's great-grandfather died because he was denied access to dialysis. And then to put the cherry on the cake, my children could not attend his funeral because they wouldn't let us have more than 10 people at an outdoor graveside funeral This is not freedom. This is not liberty. This is not the America any one of us should want to live in.
Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name's Courtney Allen. I'm from Huntington Beach, and I'm here to talk to you as a mother of 3 young children. I'm here to stand up for them and what they deserve in the America that I see for them. I was told last night in an email from my children's public school district that they will very likely be demanded to wear masks in their classrooms next year. I will tell you now, my children will not attend any public school or any school anywhere where they are told to wear a mask. And you must know right now that the citizens of this county demand that you vote today to end this unlawful local health emergency. You answer to us, we vote, we pay your salaries. Do as you're to do. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hello, I'm Rosalie. I'm not sure if you guys are human, but I'm here on behalf of the human race. I mean, with technology improving, I don't know if you guys are robots or whatnot. So please stop imposing Chinese communism tactics. This is America. We need our essential breath. If you're not human, please join Elon Musk on his trip to Mars and vote for our breath. Please let us breathe. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Did you know the very act of watching someone else smile raises your serotonin? With masks, we're not able to have that natural rise in serotonin. How many smiles have you missed out on because those around you are masked? How many smiles have your children missed out on because they were masked? How many rises of serotonin, that feel-good, wonderful chemical that engulfs our brain during that smile that we see? How many of those have you missed? Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Karina. And who am I speaking to? All of you. Hi. I would like to say that I'm very thankful and appreciative for all of you. Your job must be very difficult protecting everybody. And I think to move forward to protect everybody, I think we need to remove the strong recommendation of wearing masks, because I think that will make everybody sick, and people who are healthy, it'll make them sick because it affects our immune system to wear the masks. So I please hope that moving forward you can remove the strong recommendation to continue protecting us. My mom has multiple sclerosis, is in a senior home of assisted living, and we have not been able to see her. And it's okay, I have my children here, and I think it's up to us to make sure that we don't give her any sickness, and so that I don't think the general public should be wearing masks. I think that
Your time
it
is
should
up.
be upon us. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name's Bill. I'm 71 years old. I'm here to oppose the mandatory wearing of masks for 2 reasons. First of all, they've been, by several studies, they've been proved totally to be ineffective. But the thing that affects me most on a daily basis is I'm seeing so many other people affect their health by wearing masks inappropriately, because they've had so much fear instilled in them by the authorities and people in stores and so forth. I've stopped people from riding bicycles up hills, joggers from jogging, and people from, in general, walking on a daily basis. I've read a lot recently about how this can affect your health, and I felt it on my own when I've worn my mask too long. I've heard it from people who work in stores that if they wear their mask too long, it drastically affects the way they feel that day. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Brittany Van Leeuwen, and I'm from Tribeco Canyon. I'm here today to please request that you stop the mandated mask. It should be not mandated. It should be an option I want to know why my son, who is 10 years old, has anxiety and depression, and he gets panic attacks when he puts the mask on. Why is he forced to wear that for summer camps when he's running outside in a few weeks, for when he's paddleboarding, when he's doing all of these outdoor activities, and you guys are sitting there in front of us with no mask? Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Tammy Belcher, and I'm a resident of Newport Beach. Professionally, I'm a speech language pathologist, and most importantly, I'm a mother. I want to point out that the justification for masks and other restrictions for school students and for the general public in that matter is not backed by science or medical evidence. Furthermore, the social emotional repercussions of the new normal will do far more damage than the risk mitigation for an infection that has not been proven to affect school-age children. I am here not only representing my family, but hundreds of others who share the same sentiment. We will not return to educational institutions that are instilling fear in our future generation and making our duties as educators and faculties impossible to perform. Why are we taking these extreme measures when the risk is not evident? Let's make accommodations for the at-risk and not the masses. This is not one size fits all.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Cy Hewitt. I am a resident of Orange, the city of Orange. I am a longtime person from Orange County my entire life. Many of us are here today to inform communities of the plan for it to be mandated to wear a mask in Orange County. We have people here who have been in the trenches at the top of their field, such as myself, and we've been able to determine the efficacy of masks when appropriate because we were in the trenches, again, as a respiratory therapist at the top of my field. We've seen everything from CO2 retention to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And of course, you heard a young man here, a boy, speak about him having asthma. These are contraindications of how dangerous it is and not making a respiratory virus less contagious. We see people wearing masks outside and believe it's scary and produces a culture of fear.
Thank you. Your time is up.
I hope we do the right thing and just not one person's
Thank you.
discretionary opinion is left up to this.
Next speaker, please.
Good morning, still, Honorable Chairwoman Steele and the Board of Supervisors. My name is Ilya Tseglin. Regarding the agenda meeting, I would follow every word what prior to me the speaker told about their feelings and how they feel about freedom, that I'm coming for 9 years for every year meeting to tell you that will come time when the crowd of the people like today come to you and will tell you what I tell you for 9 years coming here for my innocent son kidnapped by your department and going to be murdered for nothing but for money. I won't just tell you in my few seconds. I'm in full complaint in support with President Trump.
Thank you. Your time is up.
To appoint judges who will.
Mr. Stegran, your time is up. Thank you.
Brother Nate Seglin. As you noticed before regarding, I mentioned before my brother's case pertaining to this, my concern, of course, is the double standards, and as you see, people are quite upset when you restrict their freedoms. As mentioned before, how much more so in the case of my autistic brother who's been stuffed in a group home, placed on dangerous psychotropic drugs, complaining of seizures, incurring weight gain, complaining of physical abuse, sexual abuse, all of that covered up and denied by your Adult Protective Services, by your Office of Public Defender, aided and abetted by the attorney from the so-called California Attorney General's office, as a conservatee of the director of the Department of Developmental Services of the state of California, the director who's supposed to be appointed by the governor. And that's a concern that you should have. You impose purported restrictions, and yet you have this.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you.
My name is Marcia Hoist. I've been an Orange County resident for 50 years. We are now in a war against our rights, freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, a war on our health and a war on humanity. And this war is not from foreign invaders, but our own elected government. You have the power to stop this war now. Please return our lives to normal, and not a new normal, the normal we've had for decades. Please.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Hala Bali, and I'm a resident of Irvine and a business owner in Newport Beach. I have watched you guys every week discuss the issue, listen to the constituent, but don't take any action. It's ironic that the supervisor of the city of Riverside can take a stand on this 2 months ago, while you continue to ask Dr. Shao the procedure and the board authority to take decision on these issues. You either do your job or somebody else will be here put in place by us to do it. Dr. Quick did not resign because she was harassed. I think that's fake news. I guess she's worried about her own liability regarding this non-science evidence order, and I think each one of you should be feeling the same way, as legal action will be taken against you personally and the board for medical fraud and for keeping this emergency order in effect. You need to revoke this emergency order right now. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Hodges from San Clemente. An emergency is immediate. It's not 3 months later. Come on, people. There is no legal grounds for this unlawful and restrictive local health emergency to continue. You, the board, have the legal power to terminate this local health emergency, and I ask you to do that today. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. This is fraud, and I support full legal action against you. People are being bullied in places of business when they're supposed to not be discriminated against. I have been discriminated 5 times in the last 2 days. I have been actually turned away. I cannot go in these businesses without a mask, even though I have a health condition. Please stop the masks, the phases, and the state of emergency. Please also allow our churches to open at full capacity, not new normal or only 100 people. Hebrews 10:25 commands us to not stop from meeting together, yet these strict orders prevent many, many churches in our area from meeting. Please
Thank
stop
you.
now.
Next speaker, please.
My name is Deanna Haviland. I'm a 20-year Orange County resident business owner. Are you aware that you work for us? We the people, demand that you terminate your unlawful local health emergency. You've heard a lot of people speak today about the reasons behind why you should do what you're supposed to do. And if you refuse, are you also aware that unless you terminate this unlawful local health emergency, that the public, we the people, are going to take legal action against you? Are you further aware that in San Diego, they have already done so? They have taken legal authority to sue the Board of Supervisors in addition to the health officers. Do you have D&O insurance? Because if you don't, you're in trouble.
Next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Krista Campbell. I'm a lifelong resident of Orange County and a business owner. The most troubling aspect of this order, aside from the fact that we do not meet the parameters of a health emergency, making these orders unlawful, is that you are expecting businesses to enforce this order, this unlawful order. Businesses which have been starved for the last 3 months because of this pandemic. You are coercing and threatening the very heart of our community by threatening to revoke their business license, fine them if they do not enforce your orders. You are expecting civilians, the backbone of our nation, to do your dirty work. How dare you? Right. Supervisors, Doe, Wagner, Bartlett, Spitzer. This is government overreach.
Your time is up. Thank you.
My friends are organized and mobilized.
Thank you. Your time is up.
We will not.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
My name is Michael Adams. I drove through the night down here from San Jose, California, to stand beside my brothers and sisters down here and show solidarity. I want to be as positive as possible. You have the opportunity to stop this nonsense. There's much nefarious things going on behind this. And everything from the testing to tracking to the low percentage of what supposedly this bug's all about, this can all be burnt out and extinguished in a very short period of time. This thing about social distancing by itself, it's the opposite of what we are as human beings, to fix things. We have a fantastic immune system. With all that said...
Thank you. Your time is up. Next speaker,
beware
please.
of the lawsuit and beware of criminal charges.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is for all the victims that I serve. I serve with victims of human trafficking. And here's the similarities between a trafficker and what's going on here. They separate them from their families. They isolate them. You call it social distancing. They punish if they don't follow the rules. We call it that pimp mentality. Traffickers tells the girls what they wear and what they can't wear. And you're demanding people wear masks. Traffickers tell them where to shop, where to work. You pick who's essential. In a stable, they're told where to go, and where we call that pimp reign. We can't go to church. We can't go to graduation. We can't go to funerals. The trafficker wants them to be obedient to their master trafficker. We will not be obedient to you. We will follow just and constitutional rights, and they do it in the name of protecting us. What are you doing it for? Are you hearing us? Are you listening? Because you are, I'm certain, believe in justice and the Constitution, and that you guys want freedoms as well. So listen, are you listening?
Thank you. Your time is up. Next speaker, please.
So we can't believe that we're here debating against the mask mandate instead of ways to counter racist ideologies, systematic oppression, and health inequities that have led to more Black people and other communities of colors dying more from COVID than anyone else. The Multi-Ethnic Collaborative of Community Agencies, MECA, supports the face mask mandate. It simply helps prevent the spread of COVID-19. The pandemic highlights the health and economic disparities in our communities, with minorities disproportionately impacted. Ethnic communities certainly see higher infection and death rates, and the need to mitigate this disproportionate impact remains paramount. As trusted decision makers, we urge the Board of Supervisors to keep protective health measures in place so that our communities remain healthy and safe. Continuing to support and order for face masks in public spaces will
Your time is up.
Will maintain
Thank
safety
you.
for all community citizens. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Hi there, my name is Trish Eilbert. This is my third time here. I've never done this before until this situation. I'm a nurse, my husband's a physician at Hoag. I'm not going to go over all the issues because everyone has done that, but I'll tell you what we're doing as a family. My kids are no longer going to be going to their schools. I have a child in private school, I have a child in public school. We have pulled our children out of school, and if we have to, we will move. We are not okay with these mandates. It's absolutely ridiculous. The data does not support us wearing a mask, and now you're going to expect our children to go to school wearing masks. It's absolutely insane. So I want you to know what our family is doing. And we've been active community members for a very long time, and that's what we're left to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, board. Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Angela, and I am an RN. I do not any longer practice because I have a vaccine-injured child. And my son is trying to learn his social and emotional behavior and everything from facial expressions. And masks cover that up. Not only that, but he is immunocompromised, which means that the CO2 that he is rebreathing and the bacteria and the latent viruses in his body are going over and over and over in him. And every time he gets a virus, his brain swells and he starts having problems physically, emotionally, behaviorally. This is truly a crime. You guys need to open up the parks for our kids. You need to make it so that they don't have to wear a mask. You need to open up the pools and everything. Bring the kids' lives back. You took them away. You guys have the power. Bring them back now. It's just, this is ridiculous. The
Your time
WHO
is up.
even said
Thank you.
last week that asymptomatic.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Marisa Passanisi. I'm a resident of Long Beach and a business owner along with my family in both LA and Orange County. You already know about the hazards of the masks. You already know about the illegality of the local health emergency and all associated orders. The point I'd like to make is that we here represent thousands upon thousands of people. We are informed, we will not conform, and we will not stop. We expect and demand that you vote today to put an end to the local health emergency and all subsequent orders. We demand it. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Thank you. Dr. Howard Cohn. I've been in practice here in Costa Mesa for the last 30 years. I'm representing my doctors, my staff, our patients from around the world, and trusting that today you will do the opportunity and take the opportunity to end this health emergency. We don't have a health emergency. I question if we ever had one, but we don't have one now. And if we continue to go on like this, I can promise you one thing. We will have a health emergency here in Orange County. I'm watching children get sick. I'm watching patients get sicker. I'm watching people breathe in their mask. And I'll let you know that, again, you may have to worry before about whether you're going to get elected or not, reelected or not. But now, with this crowd and these lawyers and these educated people, the fear is whether or not you will end up going to jail for fraud, because there's more than enough evidence that this group has an opportunity of a lifetime right now to prevent that from happening or watch it happen. And the world is watching.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Sarah from Tustin, and I have a question. Are you racist? I ask because, like everyone here who's had much time to spend researching, evidence shows that masks affect minority groups exponentially higher than others. George Floyd, name heard around the world, died from complications due to asphyxiation, but was also reported to have coronavirus. Convenient. But let's pretend he did. Are there any African American or Latino citizens here, or people who suffer from autism, ADHD, or autoimmune? Multiple studies available to these in front of you show that blacks are 3 times more likely to die from complications due to asthma, Latinos next. Multiple studies also show that black and Latino children are more likely to suffer from heart and lung disease due to high blood pressure, a leading cause of death later and on effect of wearing a mask. George Floyd wore a mask. But my question, along with others, is how is it that a hairstylist with no college degree can connect the dots and you refuse to do
Thank
so?
you.
With
Your
studies
time
you
is
depend
up.
on? You are either
Thank you.
ignorant and
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'm here and drove way from LA County to talk about this with you today, because if you guys were following the California law, we wouldn't even be here today. So there is no state of emergency. That ended like 7 days after February 25th, when the emergency was declared. And it doesn't even matter if I'm coming from LA, San Diego, wherever. You guys need to terminate this. You have the power to terminate this so-called state of emergency. If these kids, no matter what state, what city they're in, start passing out in these classrooms because they're wearing masks for 6 hours a day, that responsibility will fall on your hands. And if you guys don't want to face a lawsuit, I urge you to go ahead and make the right choice and the right vote today.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi. Good afternoon. Apparently, they pretended to lose my slip, and they're claiming that I can't speak because they lost my slip. And they told
Could
me I
you
was
just
number 97.
stop at this point? What's your name and where do you live?
I live in Irvine. My name is Dana Cornelius.
Okay, we're gonna check that you wrote the slip or not. So why don't we
did write
just
the
move
slip,
to
ma'am.
next speaker and then you wait for us
Okay,
to
look.
verify that. Next speaker,
my
please.
60 seconds starts now.
Okay, go ahead.
A swarm of locusts, fourth generation, 8,000 times larger than normal in number, are spreading from East Africa on the way to Asia. They eat entire farms in 30 seconds, enough food in one day to feed 3 million people. Aerial sprays aren't even making a dent. Mass starvation is coming. Tens of millions will die. That is a state of emergency. God damn it! You are unconscionable. Unconscionable. And we will ensure that none of you are going to get reelected if you don't lift this order now, today. Do you hear us?
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'm Yvette from Orange, and I'd like to share something that happened. My daughter and I have been going to a restaurant locally, and there hasn't been any problem with not having a mask or social distancing, and she has a disability. It's very clear when you see her. And this Sunday, we went in our same restaurant, and we were not allowed entry. They did not follow the ordinance. They were discriminating against her. They were choosing who they were going to let in and out, and they're not even following the rules. So this is inherently discriminatory. She clearly had a disability. And I want to know why it's okay for her not to have to wear a mask Sunday after not wearing it because of her medical condition all this time. Also, I want to say that we're lengthening the infectious disease cycle by keeping people in and not letting them get out in the sun and build up their immunity. And
Thank you. Your time is up.
Also,
Next
I'd like
speaker,
to say-
please. Thank
I'd like
you.
to say-
Thank you. Next speaker, please. We cannot hear you after 1 minute, so thank you. Next speaker, please.
This is so frustrating to have to come here all the time. Hi, my name is Katie. I'm a Brea resident. It's really funny. I was here last week to watch all y'all decide the fate of millions of people, and none of you are harming your health with masks. Don't you find that a little bit hypocritical? I'd like to read something to you. Are you aware that each are complicit in fraud by intentionally misrepresenting the information about this local health emergency? In other words, you all are liable. I personally would like to see all of you, except maybe Wagner, indicted and faced with charges for defrauding the public, for breaking the law, and for harming the health of every single person in this county who has to wear a mask, including my husband. Y'all are sitting there breathing freely, building your immune systems without masks. How disgusting, how shameful, how criminal, how corrupt. This is a hoax, it's a fraud. There's nobody dying in excess of any other year in the last decade. Are you aware of that? Stop listening to absolute charlatan doctors like this Dr. Chow, who I wouldn't go...
Your time is up. Thank you. Next speaker, please. Your time is up. Cannot hear you. So next speaker, please.
Hello, my name is Leah Smith. I'm a speech-language pathologist from Capo Unified. I'm here today to stand up for kids with autism who cannot wear masks in school on a daily basis. These are kids that have sensory issues, and as my job as a speech-language pathologist, I need to teach them about facial expressions, how to use them, how to identify them, and how are we supposed to do that with masks on? It makes no sense. And this is not based on science. You're doing things that are not based on science. And it's very frustrating. I cannot do my job with a mask on. If you don't know children with autism, you need to go find them and do your research. These kids cannot wear masks. This needs to end today. It's not
Thank
based on
you.
science.
Your
Thank
time
you.
is up. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Dana from Laguna Niguel. I'm here today to speak about masks and the harmful effects it's going to have on our children. This is my daughter here. I don't feel like it's fair that she should have to be required to be muzzled at school. Wear a dirty, filthy mask all day that she's going to be touching, taking off. We're going to have the worst cold and flu season if we don't get rid of these masks. And you guys need to protect the kids and let them go back to school, play with their friends. They shouldn't be distanced from their friends. They shouldn't have barriers. They should feel safe. This isn't an institution. This is school. They should be growing and flourishing. My son, they said you guys can do sports. Well, the restrictions were so crazy, they just canceled the season. Parents couldn't watch the games. Kids were gonna have to wear masks playing baseball out in the heat, which wasn't healthy. There was chemicals required to wipe down the benches, and it just took away from the game. We need to get back to letting our kids be kids. It's important
Thank
for our
you. Your
future,
time is
too.
up. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Amy Bond, and thank you for letting me speak. My family originally comes from Budapest, Hungary, and during that time, my aunts, my uncles, my great-aunts, my grandmother, they lived there during World War II. They had to be rescued out of Hungary at the time because of the armies coming in upon them. And I wanted to just give you an example. My great aunt had so much courage during that time that she dressed up as a beggar, went to the village to get food for the people, and brought it back to a cave full of 30 to 50 people who were hungry and hiding from oppression. That example I share because it's an example of courage. It's an example of one person having so much courage to do the right thing despite all that's around them. And I just want you to know that there are people outside right now that are wearing masks, and they tested their oxygen levels. They started at 99%, but with the mask on, it dropped to 84%. Organ failure starts below 80%.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Just the science shows that that's the real.
Thank you. Do we have more speakers? Next speaker, please.
There are no more speakers, Madam Chair.
No more speakers. Perfect.